Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for the Salt and Pepper movie that aired on Lifetime Movie Network last night. I actually just watched it today on Sunday, and I'm only doing this review because I told you guys that I would. And you know, I'm a woman of my word, but y'all, I was just looking at that episode or that show or whatever you want to call it, a movie about the lives of Sandy and Cheryl and a little smidge of Dee Dee. Yes, we know there's drama going on between the two entities, I should say, between Spinderella and then Salt and Pepper. And we'll talk about that more later, but yeah, this was supposed to be shining a spotlight on their lives. And, I'm all for a biography. Sometimes Lifetime does okay. Sometimes they do dreadfully wrong. And this time was somewhere in between those two. Never am I feeling like it was knocked out of the park. I don't know. I'm just really dreading doing Wendy Williams next week, though, because I already know it's gonna be some fuck shit. Already know. The thing with this movie, I think the reason, look, I hate starting off reviews and shit when I don't really like something, because I don't like watching reviews when I know the person doesn't like something, because then it just sort of sounds like they're complaining. So I'm gonna try to find some glowing spots in the movie, but I just feel like we didn't learn anything new in the movie. Like those things that they talked about in the movie, I feel like for the most part, there were some little surprises, but for the most part, I knew those things about them. They had already made that clear about what was going on in their lives on the numerous reality shows that they've been on since, so I mean, it was fine, but I am glad that I didn't waste my Saturday night on that, and I leisurely watched it this morning, but okay, I'm gonna stop complaining. And because I like to stay positive, we're gonna find some good points in the movie, you guys. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so the movie opens with them performing at VH1 Hip Hop Honors. You guys remember when Queen Latifah had introduced them? They were being honored as the originators of the, queens of hip hop, I think is what she called them. And they're just showing up at this performance evidently and hadn't spoken to each other in 4 years. We didn't know that then, but that's what they're telling us now. So I guess they just showed up to perform and knew all the routines and all the costume changes and all of that. Yeah, okay. But that's where the show starts. But you know what? Let's rewind it on back. Okay, so that's 2005. We're going to rewind it on back to 1985. Back when they weren't Salt and Pepper, when they was just regular Sandy and Cheryl. Cheryl worked at Sears in the call center. And, she was kind of helping, I guess, to recruit some people for the job. And that's how she meets Pepa. Okay, Pepa is at the place where Cheryl is giving out applications. And Pepa needs a job, Maybe you can put in a good word for her. Okay. And Cheryl says, yeah, she got her. So one of the things that I will say that I did not know. Now, I did know that Salt and Pepper was very heavily, they were closely linked to Kid and Play because of Her We Love. But I know that they were all friends, that they all worked together. I did know that they all worked. I knew that Cheryl and Sandy worked together. I did not know that Kid and Play also worked there. And I surely did not know that Martin Lawrence worked there. Okay, so that was a surprise, and that was actually a pretty interesting surprise. I was like, oh, look at that. Now let's talk about the casting. Okay, so we might as well start here, you guys. When I was looking at Salt and Pepper, see, we so used to seeing them now that it's kind of hard for us to remember what they looked like back when they were younger, when they were thinner, and all of that. I didn't think they did too bad of a job casting Salt and Pepper. The girls didn't necessarily look like them, but it was, it was cool. Like, I was fine with them being cast. But again, you got to put yourself in that mindset of when they were there. And then looking at the hair, I mean, in the 80s, everybody's hair was fucked up. Like, it really is a reality. Nobody, when I look at them styles from the 80s, it was all bad. It was all bad. We really thought we was doing something with the asymmetricals and all of these different, hairdos, and it was wrong. So, keep it in the spirit of the wrongness of the hair of the 80s, then the wigs, yeah, they were bad, but they could have been worse, and really they was kind of on par on some of them hairstyles, if you ask me. We saw Kid and Play, of course, Kid with the high top fade, the real high top fade that he had, or the flat top, or whatever they called it back then. I don't even remember. Yeah, it was just whatever. All right, they didn't really play a big enough role in it to even matter. Of course, you did mention that Play was a player, and that was the reason why he got the name that he did. But yeah, I was surprised that Martin Lawrence was working there. And I don't know who the fuck cast Martin Lawrence, but the roll called for Martin Lawrence, not Martin Luther King. That motherfucker looked like he was 58 years old. I was like, why did they put that guy in there? He didn't look like him at all. He actually looked more like if they were gonna cast him, he could have been what was the name of the group when the guy who ended up being in the wheelchair? Oh, and it was a heavyset guy and a thin guy, and the guy ended up being a pretty successful actor on TV. I cannot think of the name, but they were also in House Party, the movie. Fuck, it is gonna drive me crazy. I know it's gonna come to me. It's something and something, like I can hear Groovy Chill. Okay, he could have been the Groove, and Chill was the one that ended up going into the wheelchair. But he really could have actually played that guy. He looked more like him than he ever did of Martin Lawrence. I was like, child. Anyway, so that was a surprise that they actually all worked together. So that was cool. Hurry Love Bug was obviously the mastermind behind the group. He was the reason why they decided to become rappers. I did already know that him and Salt were a couple before she was Salt. She was just Cheryl. They were a couple. I didn't know that he tried to rap, even though I should have known that, because he did rap on some of the songs and it always sounded real stupid. And then he realized that, and so he said that, they had to make sure that they get a woman instead. His voice doesn't really do well. So that was very smart of him to try to, come up with a female rap group like that. So then that's where Pepa steps in. We see her, she ends up getting hired at Sears, and that's when her and Cheryl become fast friends, because Sandy is like the wild and crazy one, kind of in the streets and, having fun all the time. And Cheryl is a little bit more of the serious one, church girl. She said she was a Christian, and she's not out there like that. Okay. So they balanced each other out in that way, which we already knew, right? We knew that about the two of them. I don't think either one of them came from much of a troubled childhood. They look like they both pretty much had regular childhoods. I think Sandy's father had died, and she felt like she was a disappointment to him. So part of her whole reason for being was that she was, trying to make him proud. Her sisters were achievers. I think she said one was one. What did she say they were? I didn't even write it down, you guys, but she wants to make sure that she makes her father proud even in death. Okay. We also see that Cheryl's everything is Herbie. Everything that Herbie is, and claims to be, she loves about him, and she feels like he makes her, he kind of opens her up to, makes her feel like she can do anything. That's exactly what she told Sandy, actually, after one night that they had gone out. Sandy took her to, I guess it was something like a strip club, and it was just exciting for Cheryl, something different for her. So then we see that Cheryl has brought Sandy on as the other rapper that Herbie said that they need. And Herbie's a bit of an asshole. Again, I had already heard that about him. They always used to talk about how he used to just be really just whipping the chain, and they was always feeling like he was working them to death and everything. That was like kind of a running joke At least I thought it was a running joke. Obviously, it was very serious that Herbie was a bit of an asshole. You know, and so when Sandy comes in, you know, he kind of always looked at her as she was ghetto. You know, she's Jamaican, he's Haitian. And I don't know, is there some sort of little beef between Jamaican and Haitians, because they actually made a big deal out of that? So I wasn't really sure. So y'all put me up on game on that. But anyway, he has a problem with the way she raps. He says she's not rapping on beat. You know, Cheryl did it, so now you do it. You know, that kind of shit. Just being nasty for no reason. She was like, fuck, I'm not even getting paid for this. Like, why, you know, why you doing all that? You know, he take a couple of music classes, now his ass think he very Gordy. So Cheryl is trying to calm the waters between Herbie and Sandy. But, you know, the whole time that they were a group, Sandy and Herbie never seemed to see eye to eye. So he wrote this song for him to do. It's them dissing. It's a diss track to Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, which was actually smart of him. And that was a big risk back then, because they were very big rappers. And but that was like the name of the game in rap back then. You know, you came at people that you wanted to, you know, be challenged by, or, you know, if you wanted to take over their spot in hip hop or whatever, then that's what you would do. Today, now motherfuckers be wanting to kill you and shit. So that's the difference between now and then. But so he wrote this song for him, and even though they weren't really sure about it, they went on and did it, and it turned out to be a pretty much of a local hit. You know, they started playing the song on the radio, and then, you know, finally Herbie just goes on and names them Salt and Pepper. Okay, Cheryl's gonna be Salt, Pepper's gonna be Sandy. After their song is playing on the radio, he starts getting them gigs all over. So now they've got music on the radio and they're a local hit, right? Okay, so now Herbie is starting to put them in different clubs. He books them at the Inferno. Okay, they do really well at the Inferno. He books them at Disco Fever, and I guess that was a big club back there in New York in the day. And that's where all the rappers went. So, you know, they was really excited about that. They was also going to be going to the Crush Groove party. I guess that was like the release party or whatever for the movie. That's big time, because you can imagine everybody that was at the Crush Grooving, body moving, Crush Grooving, body moving. Y'all know nothing about that, bitch. This is my time, okay? This is my era. So that's why I feel like I kind of know a lot of the story. Maybe a lot of younger people now, because Salt and Pepper still are performing and are still very much out there, but maybe a lot of the younger viewers of them, they don't really know their story like that. So, I mean, I guess this was something good. That's another glowing moment that we can say, you know, maybe there were younger audience, younger fans who don't know much about Salt and Pepper, so they learned more in this movie. But anyway, we see them at the party for Crush Groove, and, you know, the girls go there, and Sandy got her eye on LL. Honey, LL was the man back then. So he had his pick of any woman, including everybody that was up in that Crush Groove party, I'm sure. So he didn't seem to be giving Sandy too much attention. All right. But who does give her attention is Marky D from Fat Boys. And you guys, actually, I know that Sandy and Marky D actually had a relationship. They did not say that in the movie. They just made it seem like he was really interested in her and just wanted her to be successful and all that. But I know that back in the day, it was known that them two were in a relationship for a little while. And so they were kind of linked on to Fat Boys, because Fat Boys was big back then as well. You guys, Wipeout was like the shit. I remember, because I was a cheerleader at Palisades High School. Go Dolphins! Okay, y'all know nothing about this, but anyway, Salt and Pepper and Fat Boys was everything back then. I can remember us having a routine to push it. We had a routine to wipe out, and that routine to wipe out, I mean, it was a big deal. We danced to it at our homecoming rally, and yeah, it's just funny because I forgot all about the Fat Boys and how big they were back then. But anyway, while they're at the party, you know, Herbie again, pain in the ass, you know, just stick in the mud. He got a problem with Sandy acting like she's a groupie all the time. You know, Cheryl's just like, let the girl live. I mean, you know, he just always you know, over her. Some guy walks up, you know, the pimp type, real slick, look like he got a gold tooth or whatever. He want to talk to them about managing them and all of this. And, of course, Salt already pulled his chain. She already know about him. So she just sort of like, But anyway, he talking about what he can do for them. He takes a picture and he was like, I'll be in touch. Okay. Even though didn't nobody ask him to be in touch. But they don't pay him no mind. They just excited floating on the high of being at the party. A big hit locally. Herbie and Salt, they go talk to this label. And the guy really kind of makes it seem like he ain't really interested. But you know what? Here, I'm going to give you $5,000, for your next single. I'm going to give you $9,000 for a full album. We'll see what you guys can do with that. And then, if you do good, then we'll, there's more to it. So, they're real excited, Herbie and Cheryl. And when they get out of the meeting, Herbie was just like, look, I'm the one that came up with this group, so I'm supposed to get the most, and then you do more work than Sandy. I'm the one that brought you on. It's supposed to be me and you as a team. Sandy is just sort of like a supporting character. And she was just like, no, I can't do that. And he was like, well, I'm going to get 6 points. Okay, I'm going to get my 6 points, and whatever you do with you guys, that's on you. Okay, but he's trying to tell her that she should take more money and that Sandy shouldn't get as much. But she was just like, no, she's doing as much as I am. She needs to get the same amount. So that's what I guess they decided on. That part was sort of like not really clear, because when she goes and tells Sandy that they got the record deal, and Sandy was like, how much is it going to be? She was just like, oh, don't worry about that. So I always wondered if maybe Cheryl did end up getting more money than Sandy did. And that might have been some of the reason for the bad blood too. But they didn't bring much attention to that. But it seemed like maybe Cheryl didn't necessarily split it halfway down the way for her. More performances. They show up at this one performance that they're going to be at, and the bouncer already tells them that Salt and Pepper's there. They like, no, Salt and Pepper is not there. We Salt and Pepper, and he was like, do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Salt and Pepper's already in there. So Herbie goes around on the back side of the building and sneaks in and finds the fake Salt and Pepper that Sweet Tooth Lamont, that's the one that was at the party I was telling y'all about, the pimpish one. He done went and got 2 girls to act like they Salt and Pepper, and he's booking gigs for them and getting the money. All right. So Herbie crashes the stage, and it turns out that those 2 girls were actually Salt and Pepper's, Cheryl's and Sandy's real daughters that actually were playing them on that part. But so just a fun fact, you guys. But anyway, Herbie crashes the thing, says that they're not the real Salt and Pepper. Of course, Sweet Tooth Lamont don't like that and his boys, so they chase Herbie, and they beating him up in the alley, and then Cheryl comes running up trying to help him, and then she get knocked cold the fuck out too. So yeah, not a good time. But after that made Herbie realize that he got to be about his business. So he got to hire a team. All right, so they have a meeting, and now he has a team. They're going to make sure that they have their likeness out there. They got to put their pictures out so people know exactly who they are, what they look like. Herbie has decided to trademark their names. Okay, so now Herbie owns Salt and Pepper. So I know that was also a point of contention between them, that he actually owned the group. Okay, and he was apologizing to them for, even entertaining Sweet Tooth Lamont and the rest of his boys. But yeah, they about their business now. Oh, also, he's not going to be DJing no more. He got this new girl named LaToya, and she's going to be DJing. But LaToya ain't know nothing about no fucking DJing, and really she's just there as a prop. The girls know it. Herbie knows it. I guess LaToya knows it too. She don't really know what she's doing. So, and she's kind of come in when the girls are kind of already on that upward swing. So they don't really even respect LaToya like that. Then it also feels like Herbie is having an affair or fooling around with LaToya. He just seems a little too concerned about LaToya, and Cheryl don't like that either. LaToya ain't working out. She always late. And like I said, Cheryl already kind of has her feelings about her. She tells Herbie, and so Herbie just calls and fires her on the spot. And this is when we find out that they're going to be on the Wipeout tour with the Fat Boys. Okay, so Things is looking up for the girls. They got all these funky hairdos, these asymmetrical bobs and whatnots because of Cheryl burning out Sandy's hair on one side. And, you know, they decided to cut their hair and do all these funky little styles and everything. That's supposedly the reason why those styles came out. I'm telling you guys, them freeze curls, child, them layers, honey, all them different colors in your hair. Oh, you guys, my mom hated all that hairstyle, so she really wouldn't let me do it. So I would try to do it with long hair. So like I'd be freeze curling the fuck out of like some, you know, hair that there was this long. The damn curls would be all big and wrong, and you know, you lay on them and they get flat, you know, but shit, you done burned them in place. They also need a new DJ. So this is when we get Dee Dee in as the new Spinderella. I didn't realize that she was younger than them. They are already 21, and Spinderella, this one that Herbie brought in, was 16. So they didn't really have much respect for her. The way that they made it seem in the movie anyway is that they didn't really have much respect for her because she was too young and she couldn't go and do and all of this. And, you know, they were like, is your mom okay? And she said her mom said it was cool and all that. So they was funky to her, even in the movie. I don't know how it was in real life, but I remember when they did their first reality, when they first came back with that reality show. I don't even remember what the show was, but I remember watching it. And they've always been funky to Spinderella. Okay. And to me, it just all boiled down to the money and the fact that they didn't want to have to split it 3 ways. They're already splitting it between the 2 of them, and they felt like Spinderella didn't offer enough to the group to even be splitting it 3 ways. Now, granted, Spinderella was not no rapper, even though she did rap on some of their songs. Okay. Actually did have some lines in, you know, quite a bit of their songs. She was there, though. She was definitely a part of the group. And even in the movie, they couldn't deny it, because when you look at all the promo pictures from back then, Spinderella was always up there with her. This Spinderella, Dee Dee, okay? So she was always there. So it's how you, even if you want to say the girl didn't do as much, okay, it doesn't matter. She was a part of that group. Even though the group wasn't Salt and Pepa and Spinderella, it was like she was a part of it. Same like Run DMC, like she was the DJ. She was part of it. She needs to, you know, it's a shame that they have decided to push her out, and they've treated her bad. Like pretty much everything that I've seen them on, you know, their attitude always was like, oh, well, we did all the work. She didn't really do anything. And that's kind of just how they maintain it. I was surprised that Cheryl was that way, you know, considering she's all about, you know, God and being in the church and doing the right thing and all of that. And they're doing Spinderella so wrong. And I feel like it's more to that story, like, and we'll never get the real full story, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Like, you guys are treating this girl like this, and she's been there ever since at least Push It, which was really their biggest, hugest, you know, that's what catapulted them to that next level. After that, she was there. And all of the songs that you pretty much know from Salt and Pepper was after Push It. So she definitely deserves all of the accolades. Shout out to Nene Leakes. And they doing her wrong. In the court of public opinion, Salt and Pepper, you know, they've kind of left a bad taste in everybody's mouth right now from the way that they're treating Spinderella. But like I said, they don't seem to care. they like, look, we got a check and we're gonna split it in half, not in thirds. So that's all they seem to care about right now. Anyway, getting bigger. I mean, the whole movie is this, you just see the progression of the group. They're on that tour. You know, Sandy, of course, wants to go out and party. Cheryl's in the tub. She's not going nowhere. Spinderella definitely ain't going nowhere because she ain't old enough to go anywhere. Salt is not going nowhere because, you know, Herbie has a meeting and so she's just staying in. But Sandy's going out. So when she goes out, she sees that Herbie is out there cheating. And he basically threatens her. You know, she the ghetto one. They don't really need her. She was already the extra anyway, you know. If she say anything, then he gonna kick her ass out the fucking group. And, you know, like I'm saying, everybody is getting bigger and more known and, you know, more money and all of that. And I guess Herbie, you know, he's out there doing his thing, but he's still over the group and is creating problems, you know. There's a phone call one day that they're at the studio. Of course, he's all over Sandy again about not doing the song right and all that. She was just like, nigga, can you get off my back? Okay. But while she's in there trying to get the song right, the phone rings. Cheryl goes to answer it. It's some girl saying that, you might want to change the bed sheets in the studio, and, kind of laughing like them two been together. But Cheryl doesn't confront Herbie. But now she knows for a fact that he's cheating. So that goes on. Time continues on. They're on the Wipeout tour. Or they're on some huge tour with like Heavy D and the Boys, Hammer, MC Hammer, Kid and Play are there. Like, it's this big ass tour that they're on. And that's when Sandy finds out from one of the guys, tells her that she needs to renegotiate her contract with Herbie, because it don't make no sense that Herbie is getting as much money as he is, and he just the fucking manager. Why is it that the talent is getting so much less? Like, that's not right. You guys need to go back. She was like, well, she don't know what to say. So he's telling her that he's going to let her know what to say. Okay, so she talks to Cheryl about it, and then they decide to go and confront Herbie and say that they're going to try to renegotiate their contract. He can be with them or against them, but they're going to get this money. They talk to Eddie O. I guess that's the guy over the label. And next week thing we know is Mo Money. Okay, we see Herbie in a mansion. He's got a nice home. And we see Cheryl holding this baby. And the way that, if it sounds like I'm rushing through the movie, that's exactly how the movie felt. It felt very rushed through, because there's just no way that you can touch on all of the stories of these three people that they're talking about in this movie. But we see her holding this baby. Turns out that it was Herbie's baby. He was fooling around, and Cheryl didn't even know that he had a baby on the way. Okay, so that's when we have the big breakup. That's when Cheryl has her first breakdown. And then we start to see that looks like she's binging, like she's binge eating and probably throwing up. So she has some sort of eating disorder. But she's not even really able to have this big breakdown like she wants, because Sandy's in labor. I forgot to tell you guys that Sandy meets this guy named Ty Ran or something like that. And she ends up getting in a relationship with him, and she ends up getting pregnant. So she's pregnant and going into labor. And so she calls Cheryl and tells her to come down to the hospital right now. So Cheryl rushes down there, and she, is there for Sandy, and they have their conversation about how, Sandy ain't got the baby father there. He ain't caring. He not concerned, because when she told him that she was pregnant, he was just like, I thought you was on birth control. So he didn't even want to be involved no more. And then, Cheryl tells her how she broke up with Herbie, and, they're not going to have no man holding them down. It was just the two of them, it was like girl power, me for you and you for me, and we gonna be together kind of thing. We also see that Cheryl gets together with Gavin. Gavin is a guy who's not in the industry, who's been around, who wanted to be with Cheryl, and she finally gave him a chance once her and Herbie broke up. So next thing we know, she's pregnant. Herbie is still very much involved in Salt and Peppa's life, so he's still kind of hovering over that relationship. And then we see Pepa. She is now involved with Tretch. And that's a volatile relationship, and he's crazy and weird, just like I thought he would be. He's always just rubbed me as like somebody that was just a tad bit off. And those two kind of people bring out the worst in each other, because Sandy is a whole lot, and then Tretch is a whole lot, and then you put the two of them together and it's like a fucking bomb. Okay, so he definitely was not good for, Salt and Peppa, because he takes Sandy completely off her square, and she just be wilding. But all the while, they're getting bigger and bigger, and they're traveling all over the place. Cheryl finally talks to her, and they're in Russia, and she was just like, why are we even doing this? Like, I feel like I don't even know myself anymore. It's just all about the personality. And, she's like, we all the way in Russia. We don't have our kids with us. We're far away from our families, but Sandy is still all for it. Sandy's having a great time. Cheryl, not so much. Did I tell you guys that Cheryl had her baby by Gavin, and the baby is very light skinned? I was like, the baby looked like she was Puerto Rican. I was like, that's supposed to be Gavin's child. It don't look like Gavin's child. It don't look like Herbie Lovebug's child. And did I even mention that Herbie looks like Kevin Hart? And then did I mention that Herbie's brother was actually played by the actor who was playing Herbie Lovebug? I was just like, okay, but y'all just was like, fuck it, we ain't paying for 2 actors to play this role. We gonna pay you twice. You gonna just change your hair. Child, if he wasn't dead on some damn Kevin Hart, just a stretched out version, I said, where this nigga came from? We ain't never seen him before in our lives, child. Everybody in the movie looked like somebody else. Just like the girl that's playing Sandy actually looks like the real Spinderella. Okay, she looks like she could have actually played her in the movie. And then the guy that's playing Tretch, he looks like Ace Hood. But the movie keeps going. Tretch and Sandy's relationship is craziness. Cheryl is getting increasingly frustrated with Sandy. They're supposed to be performing at the Essence Awards. Susan Taylor doesn't want them to perform Shoop. And no, was it Let's Talk About Sex? I'm sorry, I think it's Let's Talk About Sex. She didn't want them to, no, it wasn't even that. She didn't want them to perform None of Your Business, okay? But they were like, we got to perform it. It's our hit, right? It's our hit right now. Plus, it's already part of the set. Cheryl was starting to get to that point where she didn't remember when they first came back. Cheryl didn't want to do Shoop anymore because she didn't like the line, "You so crazy, I think I want to have your baby." I can remember her making that's What a Man, child. That's What a Man. She didn't want to do What a Man no more because she had a problem with those lines. All right. She thought she was saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost, and she couldn't be out there doing that kind of shit. So that was bringing problems to him back then. But this was probably the start of it. She was starting to feel uncomfortable with some of the lyrics. But they still ended up doing it at the Essence Awards, and Susan Taylor was very upset about that. And then that put Cheryl into another breakdown. She was in a tizzy after that. She was throwing up and she was going through it. And, so this is the second breakdown that we saw her have. Cheryl tells her that she needs to leave Tretch because, he's got anger issues, but Sandy still wants to work it out with him. He's good with her kids, and he helps her and all of that. So we see the group on Arsenio Hall, and the guy who played Arsenio Hall looks like the guy that does all of the impersonations out. What's his name? I can't even think of his name. The one that was on Saturday Night Live. What is his name, you guys? I can't think of it. But anyway, while they're on that show, Cheryl doesn't mention that she and Herbie Lovebug aren't together anymore. She's pregnant, and Arsenio just assumes that she's pregnant by Herbie Lovebug, but she's really pregnant by Gavin, of course. She's with Gavin now, remember? But she doesn't mention it. So after that, they have a big fight because he was just like, you don't mention me because I'm not in the industry. I'm not in the music business, And she was just like, it just wasn't the right time. And he was just like, it's never the right time. And he's mad. And so she was just like, you knew I wasn't over Herbie. And I was like, girl, you still want to be with Herbie after all this mess this nigga done did to you? Child, the heart wants what it wants, don't it? But child, this heart will keep you in all kind of shit, won't it? So they break up. So by the time she has the baby, she's by herself. And like I said, Herbie is always still kind of hovering around because he's involved. That's his group. She eventually gets back with Gavin. And we find that out when Cheryl mentions to Sandy that, a new label wants them. And she was just like, fine, we can go to the new label. I'm not going to be the problem. The problem is going to be Herbie. So they ended up going to court and winning, getting out from under Herbie Lovebug at that time. And that's when she tells him that she is with Gavin now. She's happy, and he tells her he's proud of her, and, she's done well and all of that, So that was the clean break off from Herbie Lovebug. So then it just continues on. Cheryl is in business mode. She's now trying to be the one that keeps the group in order because Sandy is out there living her life and partying it up. And like I said, her and Tretch bringing out the worst in each other. They supposed to be at the studio. Sandy doesn't show. She calls and somebody random answers the phone, says she's not there. So Cheryl goes there and sees Sandy, having a party. And Sandy is just like, she go to church now, when Tretch comes up and she just trying to tell her that she needs to come to the studio. She's been there all day. And, Sandy is just not having it. She's just not listening. She's having a good time, and she's not there. She's like, girl, I promise I'll be there, tomorrow. So Cheryl, again, is having another breakdown because she just stressed out from all of this. Sandy and Tretch is getting out of control. It's getting really bad. They starting to fight a lot. On top of that, everybody got bills. They done already created this life for them, and now they have to work, you know. Again, they're going to be on some big 40 city tour. Cheryl is not really feeling that, not trying to be away from her family like that. Sandy was like, I got bills and I'm a part of this group. And, you know, basically you're going to have to do this too. You know, it's not just you in this group, it's all of us. Cheryl agrees that she'll go on the tour, but she's pregnant again with Gavin's baby. And this is going to be really grueling on her. And we find that out when she's on stage one time and she falls on her stomach. And when she gets up, she's, you know, nervous that something might have happened to the baby. You know, she has another quick breakdown of sorts on the bus. I thought maybe she was miscarrying because she was so worked up. And then when she went to the doctor told her that she was fine. The baby was fine, but she was going to have to stop working. And of course, she's feeling the pressure of being in the group because Sandy wants her to be in the group. But then also she's getting more and more into church, you know, and getting more and more involved there. And she just doesn't want to do this any longer. Sandy, on the other hand, with Tretch, has finally decided that she and Tretch was going to break up after they had one big fight. You know, he want to have sex with her and she was just like, she don't want to. And he has a, you know, throws a fit. And so they have a huge fight. And on the night that Cheryl calls her to tell her that she doesn't want to be in the group anymore, you know, Sandy's trying to tell her that she and Tretch broke up, but she can't even tell Cheryl because Cheryl's like, no, I'm going first. I don't want to do this. I want to give my life over to the Lord, and I don't want to be in this group. Like, this whole group is me. I've given so much. And Sandy was like, I've given a lot too. Like, I have kids as well. Like, you're not the only one that's been out here sacrificing and having to do that. I guess the difference is Sandy looked like she was enjoying herself. Cheryl didn't. Okay, so Cheryl was just like, yeah, she got to find her way without being salt and pepper. Okay, and then she got to distance herself basically from Cheryl. I mean, from Sandy. And you know, Sandy, what can she say? Like, okay, Sandy was just like, I don't need you, you know. And she had a premonition earlier in the show of death, and we thought that was going to be the death of Cheryl's baby, but actually Sandy now knows it was the death of Salt and Pepper. So then after that, they broke up, and I guess they didn't see each other for 4 years. Salt is still binging and throwing up. Seems Sandy has taken to cutting herself. So it's times are hard for them. But I guess over them 4 years, they finally was able to settle into some sort of regular life, regular family life. And we see when Cheryl is Gavin is contacted by VH1 to see if she would perform, you know, she would be a part of the hip hop honors that they're having where they're honoring Salt and Pepper. And Gavin said that he would let her know. He didn't think she was going to want to do it, but she was like, we have to do it. Or, you know, they want us to honor us and we not going to show up. It's going to be because of me. Like, no, I can't do that. So she agrees to go. And then that's where we are back at the beginning of the movie when they show up for the performance. And like I said, I guess we hadn't supposedly had any rehearsals or nothing. And the next thing we know, we got... They done did 4 songs, child. They done did What a Man, and then they did Let's Talk About Sex. They did Shoop. They did Push It. Okay, they did all of them songs. And I guess that was them getting back in contact with each other. And now we have Salt and Pepper, who still are performing to this day. Okay, a little slower, a little older, but still enjoying rocking the stage for all of us fans, you know, all over the world. So that was how the movie ended. Child, it was just, that's all I can say. It was a movie. Okay. I guess Salt and Pepper were very happy about it because they've been promoting the movie. I mean, they have to. They're executive producers on the movie. The acting was not bad, okay? The casting could have been better for sure, but the story was just, you know, when these kind of things the reason why the New Edition movie did so well is because they knew that they could not try to jam that in a 2.5 hour movie. You need the time to try, and even New Edition's movie could have had way more to it. Okay, but at least we felt like, it's like, why you guys don't give these people these movies that have like 3 parts, like the Temptations movie back in the day? That's still one of my favorite all-time TV movies or regular movies. They did so well with Temptations because they actually took the time to break it up and give it to us. The same with the Jackson 5 movie. Like, we need parts. Give these people 6 hours, 8 hours so that we can really tell the story, okay? Because when you speed through something like that, it's just, so it's whatever, y'all. I mean, it's whatever. We're going to see how this Wendy Williams bullshit is next week, and I'm going to get that to you, too. I'm going to get these little coins, y'all, because, honey, January YouTube money ain't nothing. So I'm going to have to put in whatever I can. So that's why y'all got this. Also because I told y'all that I would. So that's it. Y'all let me know what you thought about the movie. Did you love it? Was it just okay? Or did it suck? Y'all let me know what you think. All right, you guys, let me get off of here. Get on back in the house. Finish up my Sunday night. You guys make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Rox. The channel is for It's Rox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.